Ahoy, Tony Milazzo. We are live and on board with Roger Rod.
Ahoy.
How are you?
Whatever that means.
Ahoy. It's like hello.
It's like hello?
It's our sailor like hello.
Where did it come from?
Ahoy. That's a good question. Good captain's question. You know where it came from? It came from some guy after he hit the beach and wrecked his ship. And he was like, ahoy! Damn it, ahoy! And then eventually they used it for a welcome thing, like, you know, ahoy.
So. It could be another thing. Maybe ahoy was some kind of a rocket sometime when he said, what caused a ship to sail, to sink? And he said, I hit ahoy.
Ooh, I like that theory, too.
Yes.
You can go with any one of these.
They're all working.
They're all working.
Great to finally be here.
Yeah, so, Roger, have you boated? Any boating?
If you count a surfboard, I guess that would be about it. That's the biggest boat I've ever navigated on my own.
So you've surfed, huh?
I used to be a very good surfer. Actually, I was a good surfer in an era when that was considered to be good. But what kids do on surfboards today, it doesn't even look like anything towards close to what I was doing.
Different now, huh?
They're just ridiculously good. They've taken skateboard moves and done it on waves.
Well, I have a lot of respect for surfers. When I first got to L.A., I was doing a magazine show on surfing, and 3 weeks I had, and I couldn't get up and catch a wave. In 3 weeks with pros showing me, I was exhausted. It was all paddling.
It's not new. It really takes, I would say, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 or 3 months of going out regularly just to learn how not to get knocked around, how to read the waves, how to find the currents, how to get yourself in the right place. And it's a long time before you actually start catching waves and thinking about standing up and riding them. So it takes a while. It's a long process.
I just got my ass kicked.
Everybody does. Everybody does. As you know from being a boater, the ocean does not fuck around.
Oh, no. This is the devil's playground.
We can swear on this, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's waiting. They're waiting out there for you to make a mistake, you know? It's the devil's playground. It really is.
It's very unforgiving.
Yeah.
I was a lifeguard for 17 years, and I did a lot of the only boating experience there was the rescue boat and the Coast Guard boat. So I have done my share of towing things like this with a rescue buoy. You know, you can tow a boat like this with a rescue buoy and a pair of fins and a good swimmer.
Sure.
You can.
Sure.
You can actually keep them from crashing.
Yeah, definitely.
Boat rescues were always kind of scary.
Oh.
Because, well, most of the time you could rely upon the fact that the people driving it were drunk.
Yeah.
Boaters go boating.
Boaters and partying.
Yeah, they go out and they're not sober and they think, I'm not on the road, I can drink now. And as you well know, this is no place to fuck around.
Oh, no. And they'll either not have anchors or not know how to use them. They're stalled, and it takes 45 minutes to get to them usually, or at least 20 minutes to get them out of something. And next thing you know, they're on the beach.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're here at night. And I haven't done a night show since episode 1 with Johnny Cardinelli. Episode 2... in my head was going to be Roger Rod. And here we are, episode 22. We've got him.
There's a 2 in there.
Roger Rod is here.
A couple of 2s.
Yeah, snake eyes.
Absolutely.
Which is going to lead me to my next segue.
Which is?
Gambling.
Oh, my.
But I waited for Roger all this time, and it figures it's a night. I've only seen him at night. Roger possibly could be a vampire.
There's a good solid theory there. There's another one that maybe I don't even exist until the nighttime. The sun comes down, and that's when I sort of just materialize. I think that's a good theory, too.
Yeah.
Now, the daytime is, that's for laying by the pool and going to the gym and making the phone calls you and I make to try to get on stages and get work. That's what the daytimes are for. Nighttimes, you go out and perform.
Yeah. Which leads me, before we get to the gambling, I'll get there in a minute, Roger just came over from a show and a club, and he's here now. It's late. It's probably after midnight at this point.
At least.
Right?
What time is it?
And he's used to that
because
he's the poker man. If any of you know Roger, you know he's the poker man.
The poker guy, the instructor to the stars. Is there a cheesier title you can get than the anything to the stars? But I've got that one.
Well, I've seen you on TV with the poker thing.
That's
I've seen that Roger Rod.
I was on KBC for a while too. I was doing a poker show on KBC
Yeah.
for a while, short time, but
That was
poker
at KABC or was it KCLA? I know I heard
KBC.
you on KBC.
Poker has had its run as far as the general mainstream public is concerned, that the fascination, the fad has worn off. It still has a larger player base than it ever did back in my day. But it's the disco dancing fad days of Texas Hold'em have come and gone.
They have, huh?
Yeah, they have. It's not a big fad thing anymore where every movie star wants to be a poker player, and it's not in every TV and
Somebody better tell my parents because they're still watching Poker After Dark, okay?
I don't think they are anymore. I think it's off.
Is it off?
I think they took
it off?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're probably watching the reruns or they recorded it on VHS.
They recorded them, and yeah, exactly. Poker on TV. I always say something had to replace the fishing channel. Poker on TV. Could there be anything more fascinating than poker on TV?
Come on, people watch golf. That's so slow. I can't do that. Golf.
What are the replays like in golf? Like what did you miss the first time around?
Yeah, hold on. Let's see it again.
Yeah, well, look at that boy. Isn't that what an athlete? He just drove. Actually, then, what about the World Cup? You following that?
I meant to, but I've been so busy with other things. I heard little bits and pieces on the news, like the guy who headbutted somebody. And,
No, it was a bite.
I heard about that. He bit him?
He bit him.
Oh, I thought it was a headbutt. Okay.
He bit him.
Bit the guy?
Now, maybe that's the
Is he related to Tyson, or?
No, it was a Tyson Holyfield type of thing. It really was. Only they both collapsed to the ground like they'd been shot. Typical soccer play. I'm not a soccer fan. I'm not. I don't. I mean, when it comes World Cup, I try to go at least see one game in a sports bar, have a hamburger, but I didn't get to do it this season. I can't do it. Well, there's still time. There's 355,000 more fucking games left. Are you kidding me? This is
it seemed that way. There were like 3 a day
ends.
for several weeks. The Italians. I wanted to see the Italians play, Raj.
Of course, I want to
see the
little home field, right?
Yeah. But and the U.S. and I miss both those. So.
Yeah, I guess the U.S. as a team. I hear something about that.
Yeah.
I'm not following it too close. As I say so often, I wouldn't watch a soccer game if they were playing it in the shotgun seat of my car. I don't think I would.
You put me to sleep, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so what else can we talk about? Let's get away.
Hey, you know what I really want to talk about?
Shoot.
Okay, well, it means a lot to me being a New Yorker, and the Apollo has something to do with me, my life, and my grandparents. But anyway, the Apollo Theater you've played, I'm really impressed and blown away by that. What was it like to play the Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York?
125th Street in Harlem. Actually, you're a New Yorker, and so am I. I was born in New York, in Queens. So,
where in Queens?
Regal Park.
Was it Jamaica Hospital?
Probably. I don't know. I wasn't really
too born in the
coherent.
same hospital.
We might very well have been.
Oh,
yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a nice Italian mom that she drove all the way across the country to have the one doctor deliver my brother and I, because she was a New Yorker and they relocated to California. So
Paisan.
We're Paisan. Only half of me. Yeah.
Only half?
The other half is pure Spanish. So I'm a mutt.
You're a mutt. You're a mix. You're
not
100%. Okay.
Now, if I was a 70s comic, I'd say, well, folks, I'm half Spanish, half Italian. That means I'm a blank that can't blank. Remember they used to do that all the time. I'm half Mexican, I'm half Chinese, which means I'm a car thief that can't drive. Remember I never did a joke like that.
Yeah.
That was everyone's opening joke in the 70s. And, of course, their closer was imitating Jack Nicholson. So that was...
Now, was that a big moment for you? Because for me, that was
Apollo?
a big moment hearing you played there.
The way it went down was I was in a sketch group called What a Family, where I was the token white guy, and it was all black, and it was all over 125th Street in Harlem. This was in 1997. And back then, that was pre-Bill Clinton moving into Harlem and making it white, which it is. But I was literally the only white guy for miles in Harlem.
Oh, yeah.
When I was there. And our posters were up all over 125th Street for our sketch group that was one door down from the Apollo Theater at the Victoria 5 Theaters. That's where we had our sketch group show, and the Apollo was interested. They took a look at us, and they saw we were all comics. except for there were 2 actors and the rest of us were all comics. There were sketches we all wrote. They were kind of like an In Living Color type of thing, only called it one. What a Family. And the guy that was the brains behind it all, real hustler guy, a guy named Capone, he's now the host of the Apollo.
Oh, wow.
So, I go back a long way, tied in with him, a couple of guys I worked with. But
have you been back, or?
I haven't been back to the Apollo. They have now are just the amateur nights. I want to go on a night when the amateurs aren't there and I can just go out and slug it out.
Yeah.
But it was.
I'll plan a show.
I did. There are tougher rooms than the Apollo in New York, as you know.
Oh yeah.
Much tougher.
Yeah.
But the Apollo was a challenge. I wanted to do it, and I did it, and I feel good about it.
Good. How do you feel about the audience differences from any place else, or even Los Angeles to New York? Because I always feel like they're more all in. They're either more all in, or it could get pretty bad. But it's more extreme than, because LA, I feel like they're kind of like, hey, go ahead, make me laugh, like.
I think that LA audiences are paper-made, phony bullshit. What I love about New Yorkers is they don't fuck around. You've got to entertain them. You've got to make them laugh. They're not going to just politely applaud. If they don't think you're funny, next, boo, kill yourself, get off. Whereas LA, oh, come on, they tried. It's just a bullshit scene out here.
Yeah.
I would like, if they took New York audiences and transplanted them to Los Angeles for 6 months, we could get rid of 10,000 shitty people that are calling themselves comics. they would find out that how funny they really aren't.
They have to go home to mama.
You'd have to really pay the dues. And New York, they don't. Well, as I've said so many times, I have had chairs thrown at me, ashtrays thrown at me, chicken wings thrown at me. I've been physically attacked on stage 2 times, both times by a woman. I've been booed off stage no less than 10 times, and all of that happened in New York. Never, none of it happened here.
Yeah.
None of it happened. In New York, they don't fuck around.
No. I've had, in New York, I had silverware. I did a dinner club.
Yeah.
And forks and knives.
Oh, they threw the fucking silverware?
Silverware. Flying forks and knives.
Wow,
yeah.
That's rough.
And I only see out of one eye, and not much, so no depth perception. So I can't even see that sucker coming.
That's real.
That's unfair. That is
beyond a cheap shot.
They don't care there.
They don't. They really don't.
If you have a bad night, you have a bad night.
You can only see out of one. We'll fix that. We'll fuck it so you can't see out of either of them. Don't worry about it.
And you suck. Go home.
And you suck. And kill yourself. That's the thing that they do.
Hope you die.
It's boo, kill yourself in New York. It's not just boo. It's boo, kill yourself.
Or they're crazy. I just went back recently. I do shows with Sheba Mason.
Okay.
Jackie Mason's daughter.
Really?
Love child back there. And it's usually Caroline's or
fantastic.
Broadway or New York Comedy Club.
Okay.
And the crowds are crazy. And being here, they don't get that excited. Even when you do good here, you got lots of claps, some laughter, right?
Right.
I mean, they're screaming, going nuts.
When they like you, it's good. That's the other side of the coin. When they like you, they love you.
And then they're even rolling through. I'll purposely drop something that's not a joke. And they roll through that, so they're just on board.
Yeah.
Once you have them in New York,
yeah, they don't like you, they love you, they don't hate you, they want to kill you. There's nothing in between. Nobody has a blasé set in New York. You don't just kind of get through it. There's one way or the other. But that's what I like about it. New York's surreal.
So you've done most of your shows have been like New York, L.A.
New York, L.A., Atlanta. I've probably played about, I'm going to say about 30 states.
Wow.
And probably...
So how do you find everything in between? The different
the same way we all do, working the phones, and now it's working the internet.
Yeah,
it used to be working the phones.
But I mean, like, how do you find the audience? I mean, do you find them... Like, how's the Midwest? You've done the Midwest?
Yeah.
Are they very laid back? See, I haven't done I've done New York and L.A.
And that's it. Okay. That's really doing those Heartland shows. I like to do those because you got to realize that that's the bulk of the audience you need to be able to appeal to if you're ever going to get a slot on the Tonight Show or Letterman. Because that's their money basket.
Right.
all those Bible Belt states, all the Midwesterners, all the people that are shot in a beer crowd.
Wait a minute, Roger Rod and the Bible Belt.
Not a good mix.
Wow.
Not a good mix.
And if you don't know why we're saying this, you better go check out Roger Rod immediately.
We have a good time. Tony always puts some kick-ass shows together, and we always have fun.
I am a big fan of yours. I hope you know
I
that.
appreciate it. I'm a big fan of yours, too.
You are so funny, Raj.
Well, thank you.
You leave me crying along with the audience, laughing
You're
so
too kind.
hard.
You're too kind.
At your stuff, your material. I was going to ask you about that too. Material.
Uh-huh.
Is it tough coming up with all this new material all the time?
Material is always...
And your material, does it come naturally? Is
No.
it right out of your life?
No. I've always felt like that there are 3 types of comics, and the third type is a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage. I think there are comics that are natural performers, that the performance part of it is so easy to them that they have no fear of the stage whatsoever, but they are not good writers. They don't have a natural flow for writing, and it's very hard for them to learn the skill of writing. They already know how to perform it, but they need to have the material. And then there's a percentage of people, probably about half and half of these two, that they're natural-born writers. You hand them a newspaper and they'll write 2 hours of material every day for you, but they are afraid to and they're not comfortable on stage performing. And every once in a while there's a tiny percentage of somebody that they're natural performers and natural writers. Right. That's when you see the real geniuses that come up in comedy, and I'm not one of them.
You don't think so?
No.
I was going to say I certainly think you are one of them.
I appreciate that, but I'm not one of those natural fluid writers. I'm talking about a guy like Bill Hicks was a natural writer and performer. A guy like Bill Burr today, natural writer and performer. He writes well, he performs well. That he has a delivery, and he writes a shitload of material. Whatever the issue is, whatever it is that comes up, whatever current, he's on it. He's on it, and he's not afraid to write a contemporary piece, because I don't like to do a lot of topical material because the shelf life is so short.
Yeah.
And I don't come up with great material that I can just keep on prolifically writing. So I try to have stuff that is going to have some life to it and stick around for a while so that I can use it again. But a guy like Bill Burr, he can write a whole bunch of shit on today's events, and then tomorrow write a whole new page on tomorrow's.
I've seen you do something that I haven't seen anybody else do that separates you to me.
What's that?
And when you're on stage, and this totally impressed me, and it was one of my shows, and I think you came over and actually said something to me. Hey, I'm sorry, I think that was your friends, but there was a bunch of people in the front that left. You killed the room. You had everyone in the palm of your hands. Okay? Laughing hysterically on your trip with you. Hilarious. And then you yanked and you divided some of the room. And you had... they got a little touchy. You don't mind doing that.
I remember that show.
Was it politically or some political? It was.
Right.
But... I mean, they went from you were the best thing since sliced bread to you hit a nerve.
I lost
you
him.
hit a nerve, and you
lost
lost him. Yeah. And I loved what you did and how you did it, and it blew me away. Blew me away, because it's all about bringing people on a trip, and it's not always about making them laugh 100% of the time. You took them on an adventure. You made them feel things. And I thought that was different than anything anybody else was doing. You were intense. It was such a great evening.
God, thank you.
We've done a lot of things since then, too.
Yeah, we have. It's always fun.
If you haven't seen Roger Rod, you need to get on it. Okay? Where can they find you? Besides, just Google you, right? Roger Rod.
ROGER, or go to rogerrod.com, ROGER, or you could go to YouTube and type that name in, and I got tons of shit out on there. That's probably the fastest way to get to me. With YouTube, is pretty much everybody's home now, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
You got a lot of stuff on YouTube?
Yeah, I keep filling up YouTube as much as I can.
Yeah. It's.
I have some Roger Rod on the Rat Pack Comedy YouTube.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yes, the Rat. What's up with the Rat Pack? Tell me about it.
Oh, well, last shows we did were Wits End. I'm actually doing something for the owner's birthday at Wits End in Venice. coming up.
And Dennis.
It's a music show, though, not a comedy show this time. But there will be some comedy coming up with Rat Pack.
You're a mover and a shaker. Are you still working on Vegas?
I was just going to say, there's some rumors that something's stirring in Vegas really soon.
That's real good to hear.
You'll be the first to know, too.
I would love to hear that.
I would love to have Roger Rod in the opening show in Vegas.
I'd love to do it. Vegas is a happening little town for comedy. It's got a nice group of comics there. They're very different than a lot of the LA comics. They're very helpful to each other, very supportive of each other. If you show up from out of town, they put you on stage. I've had a good time in Vegas.
How sweet is that?
Yeah, Vegas is a good town.
Great.
It is.
Okay. Anything coming up that you want to talk about, or?
I got to get the name again. I'm doing something tomorrow.
Okay. What's next for Roger Rod, anyway? What's next? Where do you want to be? Say, let's look into the crystal ball, like a year down the road, 3 years down the road. Where do you want to be, or are you just there? What are you doing?
It's interesting because this process. Okay, Wiz Khalifa. You heard of him?
No.
I haven't either. We're not rapping hip hop guys.
Yeah.
He is apparently inside one of the top 10 rap hip hop artists that's out today. I'm doing a video with him tomorrow. A music video.
Great.
I don't.
Roger Rod in a music video.
I don't know. And I heard they said something about dancing at a wedding, and I said, that is not gonna fuck it. You've heard of him? You've heard of you? Oh, wait. We have her saying she's heard of Wiz Khalifa.
All right.
Okay. So we can.
He's hot.
He's hot. Okay,
he's hot. So she says he's hot.
Not looking. Just. Yeah.
Oh, hot. The music.
He's hot.
The music's hot.
On the charts. Yeah, I was at the gym today, and the phone rang, and the guy said, "Well, you want to do a Wiz Khalifa video?" And I said, "Well, what are we talking about? Any money in this thing?" And he said, "No, it's going to be. I don't think about this." And I said, "Hold up a second." I asked these 3 or 4 guys behind the counter, "Has anybody heard of Wiz Khalifa?" "Are you kidding me? He's the hot." I went, "Oh shit." What am I going to get? Exposure in rap and hip hop? Like I'm going to start rapping tomorrow? What the fuck am I going to do with that? Yo, Jay, I saw you as the white guy in Wiz Khalifa's video. What the fuck is that?
That's where you're going to be.
Next year, I'm going to be Eminem, you know.
But you're a black comic anyway.
I'm a black comic anyway. That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Now they're looking at your podcast photo going, he's not black.
Yeah, he's not. I'm a nationally known black comic. I say that many times when I'm trying to get into a club. I can walk in any black club anywhere in the country and get in. White club, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
And I've told people, too, I've showed your picture and go, oh, he's a friend of mine, black comic. And they look at me like, and then they realize, well, Tony can't see good. And I'm like, no, I know he's white. He's a black comic.
Oh.
I loved having you on. I am so glad you came out to the boat at night on the water.
It was worth it. It was worth it. We've been talking about it for long enough, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to do it.
I'm glad you came down.
I am glad you had me.
I'm a big fan of yours.
I'm a big
Keep
fan
up
of yours,
the fantastic work.
Very same to you, bro.
You're a badass. That's why I run with you.
And you are a bad motherfucker, too.
Thank you, sir. Roger Rod, live and on board from Marina del Rey Harbor.
Ahoy.